Okay, I think this is good to go.
Yeah, I'm timing it.
Let's do it, baby. Hello and welcome to the Slackware Arm YouTube channel. This is SlackChat Season 2. With me today is Phil, who is the developer of the SAPI project, which allows you to install the Slackware Arm port onto Raspberry Pis with some documentation and other scripts and tools and things like that. Hi, Phil.
Hello, Stuart.
How are you doing?
Very well indeed. How's yourself?
I am extremely well. I'm Stuart Winter. I'm the Slackware Arm developer and architect. And today I'm very well because I've finally finished merging in KDE5 and XFCE. They're tested, they're done. The system integration test is done and all green. And so now what we're going to do in this episode is publishing the Slackware Arm current tree to the FTP site. Although I will tell you that I'm not going to push it live right now. That's just because we're in lockdown and the kids are in the house. I think they're watching Netflix or something. And if I start publishing about 3 gigs worth of data over the internet, I'm going to start getting calls telling me that something's happened to the internet. What I'm going to do is we're going to prepare it. And then this evening, before I turn in for the night, I will actually pull the trigger and push it out to the FTP site. So by, I think, Sunday, it should be live on the FTP site and on the mirrors as well. So let's get going then. There are 2 pieces to this process. First is to generate the changelog that you see inside of the Slackware distribution. So the first thing is to generate that changelog. The second step of the process is to run what I call the distribution polishing scripts, which basically go through, create tag files, create text files, they GPG sign any packages that haven't been signed, and it creates the manifest files and updates the installation document and some other stuff as well. And then finally, it pushes out to the master FTP site. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to generate the changelog. Now, I assume you can see this, Phil.
Absolutely.
This is just a symlink into the Slackware Arm master tree. So this is not the one that goes public. This is a separate tree from which the public tree is made. We go into this tree here. And before I do that, I'm just going to show you the changelog as it is. So this is currently the changelog. Now, I mentioned, I think in previous episodes, that I use the changelog as also a to-do list because it just works really well that way and has done for many years. My tool set is going to process the text between these 2 markers, which are this CL marker. You'll see that further **CL. You'll see further down here, there is another one. So there's a couple of pages worth of changes here. But the thing is that when we generate the changelog, there's going to be several pages. Once a batch is built, unless there's any blurb around it, I just delete it out of this list because, as I showed you in one of the other episodes, how I merge in the changes from what I call Slackware upstream, which is x86, 64 for me. The changelog script doesn't need the x86 changelog for that. It finds the packages within the ARM tree itself. The only thing I actually need is the blurb, which is, as you can see, are the notes. See, for example, some of them I've just left them in, but usually I'll go and delete. For example, I don't need this lot here, get rid of that. So what I'm saying is that there's going to be a lot more in this list than there is currently here. At the top of the changelog here, you see between these 2 rem markers, which just means remark, comment tokens to start and stop. And I include the text that Patrick puts there, and then I add anything that's that I want to add for the ARM port. So in this case, huge thanks to Eric Hammerleers, Alien Bob, Heinz Weisinger, and Robbie Workman for all of the work that they've done on KDE and XFCE and all of the dependencies, the environment that supports those packages. Okay, so we're all done here. We've seen the changelog. Let's process the changelog. Now, I haven't run this script for this batch before. There's quite a lot in here, so it's going to take a while to run this script, maybe a few minutes. And I'm also running it on an ARM box. I used to run it on x86, but I'm not sure this script still works on x86 anymore. I moved it onto ARM a while ago. I'm trying to move a lot of what I do to the ARM platform. So the changelog script, first of all, is going to do an NTP sync to make sure that the time is correct. I was thinking of refactoring this script because it's, years and years ago, it was pretty clear to me years ago that I needed to write a script to handle the changelog, because you can't do that by hand, not with hundreds of packages or even 10. It gets a little bit tedious, shall we say. And it's one of those scripts that I just wrote, there's a few lines, and then I added a little bit to it, and added a little bit to it. And then I added even more to it. So when it automatically slurps out, or what I call it, the blurb slurp, it copies the notes out of each package and then populates them under the ARM package, as you'll see when it comes up. I was looking at the script. I looked at it and I thought, oh my goodness. I thought, I'll just speed this up. There must be something I can do. And then it's like, oh my goodness, what's happened there? So there we go. The changelog has run, and it really only took about a minute. So it's not as bad as I thought it was. So what we're going to go do here is clean all this up, get rid of this stuff. Now, I'm just going to quickly page through here. So bear in mind, this is the top of the screen, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there's 12 pages of changelog. As you saw before, there was about 2, wasn't there? So I'm now going to have to go through and just quickly make a couple of changes to this. I'll scan it now while we're on this call, just to make sure everything looks okay. And you'll see these here, and you might be wondering, what on earth is all of this? This here is a hangover from a long, long time ago, where I was infrequently adding packages to the ARM port for things like MTD utils, vboot, uboot, acorn, riscos stuff, all sorts of stuff. And whenever I did it, I would forget to update the tag file, because the ARM port uses the x86 tag file for the installer. I'd always forget, so I made this changelog script insert this marker to go and make sure that everything is set up properly. But what I didn't do is check. So this is really only supposed to to remind me about local additions to the ARM port, but in fact doesn't check whether this added package actually exists in the x86 upstream distribution, and I just haven't fixed it. It's not bothered me enough. But if you look at how many of these there are to remove, you'll see I might change my mind about this. That's when I looked at the script yesterday and it gave me a headache, and I thought I might just leave that and do it some other time. It really is a little bit crufty, that script.
It looks a bit complicated.
Oh yeah, did I show it to you before?
Yeah, briefly.
Oh right, yeah, I did, didn't I? Before we were recording.
Yeah.
On one of the other episodes. Okay, to me it kind of looks okay, apart from all of that stuff I need to remove. So I'm just going to clean this up. So ISO Linux is nothing to do with ISO Linux. It is, I just couldn't think of another name for where the installer lives. ARM does not use ISO Linux at all. It's just that the Slackware x86 installer images live in there, so I thought I'll just put them in the same place for want of making a new directory name that was different on the ARM platform, but it's nothing whatsoever to do with ISO Linux. Okay, so I've cleaned that up. One of the things my changelog script doesn't do is tell you which kernel version that's a good idea, actually. I could do that, couldn't I? It'd tell you which kernel version it was.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I just copy what Patrick does, where he puts, oh, no, yeah, this is, yeah, okay. So this is the kernel's directory for the installer. The actual kernel package itself, of course, has the proper, wherever it is up here, kernel, where is it? That one. So that's Linux 5.10.5. So all of that is normal. So just have a quick scroll through again. I'm sure this is going to be fascinating to look at this on a video, paging through the changelog. But anyhow, yeah, that looks good for now. And I'm not going to push it out right now anyway. So I've still got some time that I can just review it tomorrow or later this evening or something. So let's save that as it is. This is just a little build script. This is from trying to find the mini routes. Do you know what, Phil? That's what I haven't done. I haven't rebuilt the mini route for 32-bit because I took out the build instruction from the list to go and populate it. So I will build that later on after we've finished this episode, I think, and sort that out later. Actually, let me think. Well, I can do it now, actually, because I'm not going to push it anyway. So let's just build it, do it manually. Scripts, yeah, that's the one. This helper script actually runs from R2B, but that should be fine. Oh, yeah, okay. All it does is run dbuild, which is the distributed build. The mini roots, we're not compiling anything. We're literally just unpacking a bunch of packages into a directory and then setting up the FS tab and a couple of other things, and then packaging it all back up again. That probably, I think by default, that will ask me to, I think it might cheroot me in, but if I run it from R2B, it doesn't cheroot, it just packages it up directly. Anyway, right, so while that's doing that, okay, so Slackware current, what do I need to remove from this thing? The things we do, huh? Got to automate this, I'll tell you. You know, I've got to fix the changelog script to stop doing that. Okay. Yeah, so you can see, so it's removed everything. It's moved stuff, and hopefully not changed anything else. Probably not. No, it looks good to me. So just check that. Just give a little visual once over. So all of that stuff should have gone. You can see that it's detected that the KDE packages have been added, and then it tells you which ones have been upgraded. So it figures all of that out itself. The changelog script does.
Yeah, that's really clever.
Awesome. Okay, that is good. So now what we need to do is prepare it for release. So as I showed you in the Slackware ARM 14.2 publication, I'm going to run that script. In this instance, because my internet connection will get saturated, which will affect the downstream, I am going to not push to the public FTP site right now, but I will do it this evening. So I hope this code path works, because I haven't not pushed it directly for years. So I'm going to select the trees that I want, which is just that one. Oh, actually, I did change Slackware AR64 changelog earlier as well. So I'll push that out too. And then it's going to go and make a few touch-ups, do a few things. The reason why that option is actually in there, not to push, it comes from a long time ago when there was dial-up, very, very slow to upload packages. And so what I would do, you know, when there was a big release like this, which is going to be at least, I think, 2 gigabytes, if not maybe 2.5, when I would upload a lot of data back in the day, people would contact me telling me that packages are corrupt or missing or something. I'm like, well, that's because I'm in the middle of a push. It's going to take like several hours here. So because I had a colo server, I had this Slackware server running in an ISP, you know, sitting in the racks for years, because I used to work there, so I just let me keep it there. So I would stage it on that server, and that had the 100 megs or whatever it was, a gigabit or something, connection to the internet. So I would upload to that server, and then I would run this exact script on that server and then push out from there, because then the mirrors would be populated within a minute or two, rather than several hours. So it's a very fast and efficient way of getting the data out quickly and completely. So what I would do is these scripts go and compress things like Mesa, I don't know how you pronounce it. It would go and compress these archives, and also the kernel archive and a few other things, so that when I uploaded from home or wherever to the staging server, it didn't upload as much because it was just too slow. But these days, because my home broadband's a lot better than it used to be, it's a lot faster. So I just push directly to the mirrors now. While I'm looking at this, I'm not even sure that this is required, this compiled source, because in the X11 build script, it used to refer to the compiled source tree of Mesa, and it would do some C headers from it or something. I'm not sure if that's actually required anymore, but the ARM build script saves the source into the source tree. Likewise with the kernel source as well, although that's for a different reason. That's to make some of the kernel source package. So it's done that, and now it's going to go and create the package description.txt files for hundreds and hundreds of packages. So that might take a little while as well. But basically, that's going to be it, Phil. So in terms of what it looks like, it's going to look the same as it did for, I think, the second episode when we pushed out 14.2.
Yeah.
And just going through some of the checks that it's going to make. That's it, Phil. The big merge is done. So let's finish this episode here. And I think by Sunday, the 32-bit ARM port will be out and ready for use. And by the time this video is actually on YouTube, it probably would have been a few weeks since we pushed it out. So I hope everybody's enjoying it and it works. I mean, it works for me. I'm happy. Everything is stable. It's all been soak tested. So I look forward to seeing the feedback.
Yeah, sounds good. There's certainly a lot more work involved than I imagined.
There is a lot of work involved, and that's also partly what's going on here is that doing this also shows how Slackware is built, or at least how I build it, but the care and attention that goes into what's delivered. It's not just compiling something, packaging it, putting it out. It's spending time making sure everything is stable before it goes out, particularly for very large updates like this.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's the end of this episode. So that's going to be goodbye from me.
And a very goodbye from me.
And remember, like and subscribe. And if you've got any ideas, suggestions, comments, put them in the comment section. And if you want to help fund development, you like the ports, you like looking at this video series, then please go to the sponsor page here and you'll find ways of donating to the project. So also please go to Patrick's donation page and donate to him first, because without Slackware, then Slackware Arm wouldn't exist. I'm very happy to also receive donations for the work that I do, but again, please go to Patrick's site first. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode.